things and stuff on. Look, we're there. Hello. Do I have music going on over here though? Update and things have sort of not done their thing. General music stuff. Wait. Oh, they've moved it down there. Son of a bitch. No wonder I couldn't see it. They've moved it to the bottom. Back up the top. Anyway, chat, we're here and another Sunday D&D session. Oh my god. What is that? Oh, they fucking told me here. We'll ignore the comedian down the bottom corner there for the time being. But we are here for another Sunday D&D. I'm a little tired. I had a bit of a snooze earlier. I didn't really need to sleep as long as I did, and now I feel like shit. But we'll get through it. So obviously we had a pretty good Lost Mines session on Wednesday, and a pretty good pew on Thursday too. Right on so I can see. God, I'm behind on everything. All good. So that's all worked out pretty well. The whole moving thing is getting organised. Our house is full of boxes and mess and clutter, and it's driving me mental. But it's we're obviously waiting to move. But that's all going ahead, so we should be good there. So as far as that's concerned, at this stage, there'll be no streams on that weekend. So the weekend we move, which will be the 27th through to the 31st, which will be that Sunday, there'll be no stream. So the last stream we'll have will be on the 26th, which will be a Lost Mines D&D stream, and then that'll be it until I get everything set up at the new house. So just bear that in mind, guys. Again, I will put that into the Gilded and on the Twitter when we get a little bit closer so that everyone's aware of it. But there will be no paradigm on that weekend, just so I can get everything sorted out and make sure I can get everything set up properly and organise that stuff. So I'm not very awake and I've only just cooked dinner. Yeah, no worries. So once the move's done, we should be back on schedule. We're in a new streaming space with lots more room, and I'll be able to set up my paint station for painting minis. Speaking of minis, I just got a new mini turn up yesterday, which is for our next home game. As we're coming to the end of our current home game, we're sort of, I think we're about halfway to level 20. And we almost coming to the end of that campaign, so I've got a new mini for my new character for the next game. Got to get him into the paint station, paint him up, and get into that. So that'll be a bit of fun. And the mini actually turned out pretty good, so I'm pretty happy with it. So that was Herefordshire. If you want minis and you want custom minis, go to Herefordshire. They're great. A little expensive for shipping and stuff, but well worth it. Great minis. Anywho. So, without any further ado, I think we shall jump into tonight's recap, get into tonight's session. So, last we left off, you were continuing onwards towards the Howling Mountains region, and then in turn obviously on to the Steerin, village of Steerin, which is to be said to be having some harpy troubles. You eventually came to rest at the end of a relatively uneventful day. Uth seemed preoccupied and nervous, more so than usual for that particular day. And Various, at some point during the evening, seemed to make a new friend. It seems, before you found Sleepish, you'd spotted something in the trees, watching him. The rest of the evening went without major incident, although LV did have some minor issues during the evening with his maintenance, it seemed. Many weird noises and comments coming from the Warforged as he stood inactive while the rest of you took your watches. Eventually, however, during Uth's watch, at some point, it seems Uth had disappeared. After an hour or two of silence and a little bit of possible danger, Uth alerted the camp to, as the sun started to rise, that something wasn't quite right. As you rose and started to search, you discovered that Uth was indeed missing, his tent empty. And unfortunately, with Uth, LV, doing a ground search and Tolbeer doing an air search, no sign of Uth was discerned. No tracks. The tracks sort of led off into the long grass and foliage of the thick forest and was lost. LV was unable to track them any further than a few feet from the camp. From the air, Tolbeer, again, not able to determine in which direction Uth may have gone, but found a squirrel for breakfast for his troubles. Speaking of breakfast, as you were discussing what had happened to Uth, realizing he'd also left you a note with Dilly's observations of his tent and breakdown that he'd indeed taken off, discussions of burning the forest down, tracking him, and things were had. And then several small creatures rushed from the trees and seemed to have an extreme interest in LV. LV took some damage, and eventually, discarding the head of the Doc Noche that you had gotten the previous day, the creatures grabbing it and scarpering, taking off, leaving the rest of you uninjured. LV has taken a bit of a scrape. The camp was almost completely broken down, and pretty much that's where we ended last session. As I think Dilly possibly had something to say to her commanding officer over the incident that had just occurred, and we are now on the day is Mordrith, the 9th day of Rulaf. And I'll turn it over to you as you put the finishing touches on breaking down the camp and obviously coming off the end of this small skirmish with these creatures. And I'll turn it over to you.
Corporal, we have a problem.
What sort of problem?
One of Uth had the wax.
Oh, yes.
And I did not find it when I was breaking down his camp. We're going to have to secure that if we're going to still stick with that plan.
I see. Well, we have to visit this town anyway, don't we? Surely they'll have some in the inn.
Yes,
We
may I
steal a
suggest
candle.
along the way that LV kind of gives himself a bit of a wash. Maintenance, of
What
course.
was that? Okay, maintenance. Okay, yeah, sure.
Oh. Just when you write your report on Uth, try not to be too hard on him. We already knew that someone was coming after him. I think he's scared.
Yes. Tolvier's going to address everyone. He said, okay, we're just going to... If anyone asks, we're not going to say anything about Uth until we get back, and when we get back, I'll make my report. So if anyone asks, unless somebody directly asks if there's more than us, then we're just going to say nothing about it.
He's on a scouting mission, perhaps.
Exactly.
I mean, we don't know. He might have been taken. I mean, he seemed very wanted.
There was no signs of a struggle. Barris.
Yeah, I feel like he'd be a nuisance.
Roll an insight,
Someone's
Dilly,
trying to take him.
for me, please. First roll of the night.
Okay. Give me a sec.
So 14. Definitely no signs of a struggle in the tent. The note written in haste and in charcoal, no real discernible handwriting as such. So you can't be 100% sure that this note is from Earth. You're pretty sure it is, but without any kind of handwriting to compare it to, and like I said, it's written in charcoal. It's not written in quill and ink or pencil or anything like that. So there's no real way of determining who actually wrote this note. But you were right. Definitely no sign of a struggle in the tent.
It doesn't mean that he wasn't coerced, but he went peacefully would be a better way to go. Not necessarily willingly, but he went peacefully.
Maybe he walked into a tree and knocked himself out, and then they just took. This is Deuce we're talking about here.
But he wouldn't take his... Did he have his pack on him?
You got no way of knowing. It's not there.
No, that's what I mean. It's not there.
Yeah,
I was
it's
asking
different,
LV.
yeah.
Did he have his pack on him when he was patrolling?
LV was shut down, so he would have heard him, but not have seen him.
Did he speak to him like he spoke to Dilly?
I don't believe so.
That's why I thought I'd ask.
Private Uth made no conversation, just made some noise. This unit is unaware whether or not his pack was being worn.
Well, he wasn't wearing it when we swapped over. That's all I know. So we'll see. Like the corporal said, as far as we know, he's on a scouting mission.
DM, during this time, LV would have sort of in a squat position, opened one of his side panels, pulled forth a potion of healing, and instead of drinking it like the rest of the characters do, I think I've mentioned this before,
Yep.
he tips it onto the areas quite quickly that are broken and
No
starts
worries.
to panel them back together.
And you can roll that if you wish.
Sweet, 2d4 plus 2.
And I should be able to add it to your character sheet from here, or you can add it to your character sheet. It was easiest.
Sweet as. Character sheet, I better get that out.
I mean, I can add it for you too if you just want to roll it.
Oh, okay, sweet. Yep.
You can roll it from your inventory, and it should roll. You roll it just like a spell, and it should
okay, I
also
was just
use it.
rolling
Yeah.
the dice.
Yeah, and it should also use it. So a 10. That's pretty good. That brings you to max health.
That was pretty good.
Yep.
Jeez.
I'll add that to.
That means I roll maximum, right?
You did indeed. So LV is at full health.
He would have, as he said it, he would have said, damage level at 30%. Damage levels, 20%. Damage levels, 0%.
And that should automatically also remove it from your inventory if I've set this up properly.
Sweet. I took it out of my D&D Beyond inventory. I don't know if that affects this.
Did you roll it from D&D Beyond or in...
No, I rolled it from Foundry.
Yeah, it's removed it from Foundry, so you're down to 2 from 3, so that's cool.
Cool. Sweet.
Yep. Awesome. Duly noted.
So what I'm hearing, Corporal, and I don't want you to take this as like some form of insubordination or anything, but we are continuing with the mission for the Harpies and we're ignoring Private Uth's whereabouts.
Well, neither myself or LV could see where he's gone, so there's no point of going in a random direction hoping we find him.
Yeah, guess that wouldn't be wise.
If we picked up a trail, then we might have been able to go after him, but if we've no way of knowing where he's gone, there's no way of knowing which way to go after him.
Well, considering when we fought the ones at the
Oops.
camp the last time, they were pretty strong. I think it'd be a bit stupid of us to go after them if they're the ones that have taken him or possibly searching for him,
Of course, we had no way of knowing that either,
other than the bounty note that we all know about.
of course. But they seem to be much more direct with us.
Like I said, it's the only thing I can think of is that. We should probably get to the next town and complete this mission. Because the
Agreed.
longer we delay, the more issue we have. We'll keep an eye out for Oos.
And he may come back to us before we get back to the keep, but who knows?
So the one thing you do know, as you're continuing packing up, and you get to where you've secured your horses for the night, is Oath's horse is also missing.
Well, shit, that's not gonna look good. But he doesn't say it very loudly, so it depends on whether anyone heard it.
I mean, that's heartening though, right? Because that means he probably went on his own power and probably wasn't brutally murdered by things in the forest.
As opposed to being brutally murdered by the militia because he abandoned camp?
I don't know if they'd do it brutally. I mean, it'd probably be quite humane being killed by the military.
When have we ever been humane? Just saying.
I mean, I can only speak for myself, but I feel like, generally speaking, I try to be... And he just sort of like looks away.
The last session of corporal punishment that this unit saw was brutal slaying by hot coals. It was rather effective, and it lasted 3 days and 3 nights.
It depends on how badly Oos has pissed them off. And considering it's Oos,
LV, was that in the military?
Correct.
Are we the bad guys? That sounds horrible.
yeah,
When
as
someone-
I said,
When someone defects or turns tail and runs, punishment is by firing squad.
bad guys is subjective, various. Depends on which side of the fence you sit on.
It should be an honor to defend one's land.
Yeah, I just don't really want to like torture people for days on end with hot burning coals. I didn't see any of that in the paperwork.
LV-426 can do this for you.
It's really not as comforting as you think it is, but okay.
Let's get on these horses and go. The longer we wait, the less chance we've got of any chance of spotting Oos along the way. And there are people who are at risk because of harpies. And as sad as everyone thinks we should probably go and find Oos and not go to this place, that's one man. This is a whole town. You gotta weigh up what's more at risk. A town over a man.
At the end
As
of the
much as
day, sorry.
I was gonna say, as much as I'd like to say rescue Oos because he's family, or a part of our military family, we are responsible for a town.
the end of the day, the mission must be the priority. So we must complete the mission and then worry about him. If he comes back to us, then we can figure out what we want to do about him. Possibly beat him up and then not say anything.
Affirmative.
Or let the sergeant who's probably watching us deal with him. I mean, for all we know, it could have been the sergeant that took him. Anyway, we should pack up and move on.
Gilly's on the horse. And waiting.
So you mount, you organise yourselves, and you start heading westward towards the village of Steerin, which, Tolvier, your area, you've probably, as I said, you may not have visited the village recently or often, but you definitely know where it is. You know what it is. You know its position. You've got it on a map anyway. You know it's going to take a few hours to get there from where you are. With your knowledge of the area, it definitely will be not as long as the others, but you'll definitely get there within say 6 hours, definitely before sunset. So you head out. What sort of pace are we traveling? Walking pace, or are you going to pick up the pace a little bit to get yourselves there in a reasonable time?
I'd say regular sort of pace, just sort of normal horse sort of speed, so people can look around for Uth if they want to.
So obviously faster than walking. It's on a horse anyway, so you're looking at maybe a slow trot, keeping a reasonable pace to keep the travel time to not a minimum, but keep it at a reasonable sort of length of time, but also keeping an eye out. So in that case, then I'll get you all to make a perception roll for me. For the first part of this journey, just to see if you indeed maybe spy any sign of Uth in your travels. So we got some pretty good rolls there.
Oops, I didn't mean to do that twice.
It's all good, but they're both similar. So 18, 19,
yeah,
they're good. So we got a 15. We'll take your first roll of 19, a 10, and a 13. So not bad rolls, and the DC was 10. I mean, you keep a relative eye on your surroundings, looking for any sign of any other humanoid activity in the area. The bush is pretty thick, and you would expect that any kind of sort of activity out of the ordinary would stand out. But unfortunately, as you travel, you don't find any other sign of any other sort of humanoid activity in this particular area. You definitely don't spot Uth on your travels. At one point, I'd say Various with the highest roll there. You think you see someone on horseback at one point? You sort of do a double take, you see something moving out of the corner of your eye, and it looks like it might be like a horse in the trees, and then you turn. It turns out it's nothing more than a large deer taking off through the trees. Similar sort of shape, colouring to a horse, and similar shape, sort of colouring to the horse that Uth was riding. So you sort of get excited for a split second and realise what it is, and sort of that sort of brief moment of excitement, and then sort of let down as you realise it's not who you think it is. Eventually, you do spy the makeshift defences of the village of Steerin as you start to get closer to it, off in the distance towards the lake. The village of Steerin is not on the shores of Lake Gatton, but it is closest to it, so you can see the lake from the village. You can definitely hear some of the water birds in and around the area relatively close by. Which puts you roughly about there on the map. So you're sort of halfway between the Howling Mountains and Gatton. The Howling Mountains are closer to your sort of southwest. and they're quite high peaks. There's all manner of different mines in the mountains. There's coal being mined in the mountain. There's metal ores as well. There is a precious metal called orchillium, which is very expensive and very rare. That mine is owned and run by a particular dwarven clan. They don't live in this particular mountain, but they do own that set of mines, and they are the only ones that mine this particular ore in Paradigm, and they are the only ones that seem to have the ability to be able to mine it. It seems it's one of those mines that is well known to the area. As you approach the village of Steerin itself, the gates are closed. And when I say makeshift defenses, I'm talking makeshift defenses. You guys, since you've now been in the military for a little bit of time, you've learnt some of the finer details of making defenses. You live in a well-defended, well-fortified keep. These defenses are very ramshackle and very makeshift indeed. The wall, and I use the term wall very loosely, is about 8 feet tall in places. Made from timbers, not huge timbers. The tops have been sharpened as much as they can. You can see that, and it's all but looks like it's been done with hand tools, axes and adze and things like that. Lashed together with ropes and things like that in places. Very rickety looking. It really looks like you could probably walk up and push it over. It's not very well built at all. The gates are not much better. You do have some other like spiky type aspects around in front of the gate, sort of in an attempt to sort of ward off any sort of attack on the village. And as you approach, 2 spearmen step forward, spears and shields, makeshift leather helmets, very simple leather armor, and they step forward, shields out front, spears pointed, and literally just halt, don't come any further, state your business.
Good evening, gentlemen, or afternoon, whatever it might be.
It's probably afternoon.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. We are members of the Dragon Scale Militia. We're here on business to deal with a harpy problem.
Okay, yes. You see him sort of looking around to see, only 4? Thought they would have sent, he leans out, you can hear him sort of lean over his mouth. Thought they were sending more. And he looks back to you and says, the sheriff will want to have a word. Open the gates! And you hear some voices from inside, and then the gates get pulled open from the other side. And again, looks like there's a bar across the gates to hold them shut, and it's not great. It's just definitely not a great defensive system at all, but it obviously works for them somewhat. As you walk through past these initial guards, you get a little bit of a closer look at them now. These guys, the one that you spoke to, maybe 20 if he's lucky. Very young, not much to him, very skinny. Looks like he's probably not had a decent meal in days. The other one, probably not much older. And as you go through the gate and see a spattering of other semi-armored individuals sort of wandering around the exterior, sort of the interior of this fence, and sort of looking as you then make your way into the center of the small village. Women, children, smattering of the elderly, but barely a man over the age of 20 that you can see. And this particular individual follows forward. He says, follow me, and he leads you to a stable where he says, you can leave your horses here, they'll be tended to. I'll take you to the sheriff. Dismount.
Thank you, sir.
and he leads you to what looks to be probably the local inn, probably one of the larger buildings in towards the center of this village. And you would know, Tolby, that it's not a big village anyway. There's not a huge amount of population here. But the last time you were here, there was no fans. It was a thriving sort of fishing village. They fish off the lake and trade with Gatton and sometimes with Voland as well. And they do also trade in timbers from nearby forest. You spy the sawmill as you made sort of led to the inn. It's not operating at all. It looks like it hasn't operated for a while.
For reference to DM, LV would have his entering a town. He would just put on like his cloak and sort of disguise, cover it, try to make himself look as normal as possible.
No problem. So hood up. No dramas. So you're led to the inn, and you're led to a table where looks to be a half-orc woman. Long dark hair, sizable tusks for a half-orc. Not as big as a full orc, but definitely bigger than the average half-orc. She definitely looks more orcish than she does whatever other mixed race she has with her, but wearing chainmail armor by the looks of it. It looks like it's seen battle. Like, this is not new armor, this is not armor that's ceremonial. This is armor that is being used and probably used a lot. She has a bow slung over her back, quiver of arrows sitting on the table next to her, and it looks like, can't really tell, but looks like she might have another bladed weapon to her side as well. And as you approach and are led to her, you see the young man. He leans over and whispers something in her ear, and she puts her head up and nods to him, and thanks. Take a seat, please. And my name's Sheriff Mona. You are from the militia, yes?
Yes, good to meet you, ma'am. Have a seat, guys.
Sheriff will do fine. I'm no ma'am. And she takes a big drink from a big mug of ale. Wipes her chin, puts it down. So, just the four of you then?
4 good soldiers.
I hope so. For Steerin's sake, I hope so. And you can see she's tired. She looks worn out. Very capable, very broad-shouldered. Like, her forearms are bigger than yours, Tolby. Like, she is definitely a fighter and has seen some battles in her day. The inklings of scarring sort of around the collar and up her right arm looks like she's got a few scars here and there as well. But she's definitely seen a fight or two. Right, so about 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, first attack on the village. They attacked in maybe, I don't know, half a dozen, a dozen. It was right on dusk, couldn't really tell the numbers. But they carried off several villages. Haven't seen them since, and every 3 or 4 nights since then, same thing. Come down from the mountain, carry off a few, mainly men. As I'm sure you probably noticed coming in, we're not doing very well. And she looks at you directly. You told me, recognizing your insignia and rank. So you can tell she's probably either been in the military maybe, or has some understanding of the military as she addresses you directly. We had a group come through here about a week ago. Mercenaries, bounty hunters. We gave them gold to see if they could help us get rid of the harpies, and I said, that was a week ago, and the last Harpy raid was 2 nights ago. I don't fare well for this group. There's about 5 of them. The leader of this band is quite brash. Marcel, the Blood Drinker, is what she calls herself. She came in the last attack and made it quite clear that they intended to stay. I don't know that we will last much longer, if I'm being honest. But you'll find them at the top of that peak, and she sort of points out a window that you're sitting with your back to, and as you turn, you can sort of see through the mottled glass is kind of a craggy peak that can be seen from the inn, and she's pointing directly at that. To get there, you're going to need some climbing equipment, I think. We have equipment at the general goods store just across the way there. I can't offer to give it to you because we are running out of money for Steerin, so any purchases will help us, of course. I mean, it won't cost too much, I would think, but ropes, climbing equipment, anything you would need, you should be able to find there. We don't have a lot in the way of magical items or alchemical things. We've used most of that on survivors of the attacks. I wish I could come with you as well, but as you can see, we number few, and many of our guard, and she literally does the air quotes, and guard not really seasoned in that respect.
Sheriff, if I may interrupt, this is quite prudent to see if I can find a way to lessen any attacks just in case they happen before we can get to them. Are they screeching and singing and making sounds as they come down?
There has been word of some of the villagers turning on each other. You know anything about harpies? Harpy song is alluring, definitely. Some aren't affected, obviously, but others are. We've tried to take steps, tying rags around our ears and such, but the closer you get, the louder it gets, unfortunately, and it still has an effect somewhat on some of mainly men folk, but those that are stronger minded or stronger willed seem to be able to resist.
Do you happen to have any candle wax that we could possibly mix with something
she sort of
gummy?
brings her hand up and sort of looks at the table, and the whole place is just, it's candles everywhere. Like, they got no kind of gas lighting, it's just all candles.
I realize that lighting is very important, but maybe for the sake of your remaining males and not so strong-willed people, that we create a mixture for you to be able to put them in your ears. It may not work completely, but it may help.
She raises an eyebrow.
It was suggested by someone. Maybe learning to talk through signals when they come down in the evening.
She stands up. She looks at you kind of quizzically. She stands up and pulls down her cloak. And the one thing all of you recognize almost immediately is a insignia on her right shoulder. And it is LV, you'll recognize it as well. It's an older, much older insignia, but much the same as one that you will wear. It's the insignia of the dragon, and she simply says, nods towards you, Dilly, and says, I thank you for your advice. This is something we have and have already tried. And as I said, the closer they get, the louder it is. It seems to have some effect, but not much. Forgive me if I seem a little brash, but this is not my first rodeo.
And Gilly's going to look very high up because
Yeah,
it's
'cause
about
she-
3 foot. Yeah.
Yeah, she's about
Gonna get-
6'4", so yeah.
Actually, I appreciate your candor. That helps me a great deal in knowing what I need to have prepared for me and my team. I actually appreciate it quite greatly. Which does mean,
Your team,
Corporal,
private first class.
I said our team. I actually said our team, didn't I?
No, you said my team. Why she responded.
Oh, I actually meant our. That's, Peter, Mina.
That's all good.
Mina thing. I actually meant to say our team.
It's all good. She responds anyway, because you can see the insignia is that of rank, which she displays quite proudly.
What is the rank, DM?
It would be the rank of captain. You would know this. You guys probably not so much, being an older insignia, but LV, you would definitely know. See it as a rank of captain. Non-commissioned, you would know that it is a non-commissioned rank now, but it's definitely still the rank of captain.
Sweet.
And Gilly will turn around and say to Tolver, Corporal, if we can rest tonight so I can prepare something to give us a chance. If that wax idea that was suggested to us does not work, I have something that may.
I understand. And then he looks back at the captain and says, I know she says that, but I respect her opinion and her strategic thoughts, so I'll allow her that privilege.
And she nods, and she gets that slight grin come across her face. Like she definitely didn't mean any disrespect by what she said, or she wasn't trying to pull rank herself, because she knows she's no longer holds rank in any kind of military, although she does hold rank here in Steerin. She also, you can see she commands that amount of respect though as well. Just in the way she holds herself. She still holds herself in a very militaristic fashion. She turns and heads towards where the bar area would be, and there's looks like maybe older human woman there. She leans over and talks to her, and then comes back with several mugs of what you can only assume is ale, and plonks them down on the table in front of you guys, and seats herself. I appreciate your assistance in this matter, but please be aware, and I can sense your, how to say this respectfully, lack of experience, that this particular harpy...
We're fresh blood.
Lack of experience is a nicer way to put it. But this particular harpy is brutal at best. She cares not for prisoners. She cares not for prolonging any kind of attack. They attack quickly, they attack strategically, and very, very brutally. What they don't kill and drag off for food immediately, we hear screaming for days afterwards as they're left to die in the hills above. I then assume are eaten with the rest.
How many have you seen?
Said some days 6, 8. On a larger scale, 10, maybe 12. I have no way of knowing how many reside and where exactly they reside on the mountain, but they're there and they watch. There is a path that leads from Steerin. It will lead you to it's an old rock. I guess the shape of a ram's head, I believe. If you head to at least there, you should be able to find some evidence of them. It was about as high as anyone dared to venture before turning back, through fear of being attacked. But the inn is yours to rest this evening. If you'll stand the watch with us this evening for at least a few hours, it's been a couple of days since the last attack. I'm not sure if they will it tonight or not, but if you're willing to stand the watch with us, then again, I would appreciate it greatly.
Indeed, we shall. We thank you for your hospitality.
If you need those supplies, please head over to Steerin General Goods Store, just across the square. Young man there now runs it for his late father. Will take care of you.
Thank you.
Corporal, I only have 10 gold on me,
Okay, I have gold.
so I'm willing to put my 10 down. I only bring a small amount, especially after the last time.
Wait, what are we buying? I'm sorry, and Varys has been sitting there sketching in his book. There's a picture of the orc captain standing above Dilly and one of her face. He's just been sitting there drawing.
Roll a performance check for me, Various. I want to see how good your drawing is on this particular thing. Ooh, 10. It's average. It's not your best, but it definitely it looks like what it's supposed to look like. But it's a quick sketch as opposed to sort of an intricate drawing.
Well, Various, so we don't leave these poor people in this town destitute. We're going to be buying climbing gear, as it seems we need that to get up to the Harpies, possibly. And it was suggested us to us by the kind sheriff. And I've only got 10 gold, and I
mean,
don't
you
know if
guys
that
do
will be
have
enough.
ropes.
Mm.
You did make sure you secured ropes, and you got you've got your
But
bowler
Uth also
and things
had
like that.
Uth also had 2 of the bowlers.
He
He was
did.
holding dillies.
He did indeed. So you only have what you guys have in your packs.
Mhm.
So you know you're gonna. You guys would know that a climbing kit is definitely what you're after, which will have pitons. It'll have rope. It'll have everything you need in it. Did we just lose Mina?
She's not visible. It says she's still there.
She dropped out.
Okay. Cool. We'll come back shortly. But yeah, so with that, Mona again nods thank you and raises a mug and drinks, and she doesn't drink straight, but she raises a mug, almost expecting all of you to raise a mug to seal the deal. And you get the and Tolvi, you'd probably know this gesture more than anybody, that this is definitely an orcish thing, sealing any kind of deal with a drink. And she raises her mug and waits for you guys to do the same.
Tolvir would raise his mug too and wait for the others to, if they intend to.
LV with gloves on would follow suit, but trying to, once again, keeping his head low. He's sort of standing back, I imagine, but he takes the mug and just sort of lifts it like Colvier, copying Tolvier.
LV, roll an insight check for me, just quickly. Oh yeah. You know she knows. She knows what and who you are. She clocked you the moment you walked in the room. It was pretty
He's
obvious
still
that she
keeping
knows.
disguise
Yeah.
for anyone else around, but yep.
She hasn't looked at you any differently. She hasn't talked to you directly. But you know definitely that she knows what and who you are, or not so much who you are, but what you are.
Copy.
So does everyone raise a glass or raise their mug? It's not a glass. Dilly, this thing is huge. Like, you'd have to probably pick it up with two hands. This is a mug of ale. Like, I'm talking half liter or probably almost a liter of liquid.
Would she try and do it one-handed?
You'd probably be able to lift it. It'd be heavy. Like, I think there might be a strength check if you want to lift it one-handed. But
I want to lift it one-handed because she'd be wanting to do this so she doesn't feel like she's weak. Because she already feels small.
Please.
Oh, man.
Yeah, because a liter of liquid in gnomish hands, that's pretty good. Billy's feeling pretty strong today with a 19. So you all raise your mugs, and with that, Mona downs her entire mug, and and it's not like she does it tidily or cleanly, very orcish in manner, just upends it, and it's running down the side of her face, and she drinks the whole thing, slams the mug down on the table, and just hand across the mouth and wipes it away. It's not like she's expecting you guys to do the same. What you do is up to you, but that's the way she drinks. It's the way she seals her deals, and that's how she's done it. And she downs the whole thing, whacks the mug down on the table, wipes her mouth, and sort of just gives you all a nod. Whether you drink or not, it doesn't seem like she really cares whether you actually drink or not. The fact that you made the gesture seems to be enough.
Dilly will take a sip to kind of seal, but won't actually drink a lot.
Tolver, do you down yours or?
Tolver brings the mug to his face and then places it back on the thing and doesn't
drink. That's right. He doesn't drink, does he? That's fine. No worries. Various, you're a bit of a drinker.
Yeah, so he put it to his lips and he'll drink a bit, and then he'll look at Tolvi. He's like, Corporal, if we're supposed to keep our wits about us for these harpies, should we be intoxicated?
Don't drink too much, but if you feel you want to drink, you can drink. We've
got a few hours.
Looks at the orc lady.
Got a few hours before sundown as well, so.
And then he'll drink the rest. He'll take it slow. He won't scull
Okay.
up.
So again, one of these. I mean, it's a strong ale. Like, it's a very dark, strong, thick ale. Almost, probably not unlike a Guinness or some sort of stout. So it's very strong and very thick. But you get it down without too many hassles. LV, do you drink it at all? Because LV doesn't need to drink. But I know he can drink, though, can't he? Like, Warforged can drink, they just don't need to. I think that's how it works.
For LV, he has blend protocols active. So, as he is disguised, he just tips the drink up, mimicking, and he would do it at the same moment, seeing what Tolvi was doing, same moment that everyone else did. He does not have the function to swallow, nor does he have the function to take food nor water inside.
Awesome.
It would just run all down the front of his, at the middle chin, all down his neck, all down the armor. But he's out in the rain and stuff, it's different, so he's fine. He just...
Awesome, I love it. And she wouldn't even bat an eyelid. Like, she wouldn't giggle or even smile. She'd just whack a drink down and give you guys that sort of okay nod and go back to whatever she was doing. You can see there's a few papers on the table. Like, she was obviously going over maybe looks like it possibly might have been a strategy of some description, or just trying to make sure the defenses of this village remain somewhat intact as long as possible, kind of deal. But it's up to you whether you stay and have more drink and food, or whether you head out to the general goods store to procure equipment you need for the next day. But you have the remainder of this afternoon and this evening in Steerin with a watch with the remainder of the town guard at some point.
Dilly would go and get the climbing equipment because she doesn't have her bolars, because she needs those ones as well as anything that will help hold or anchor her to a cliff or anything in case she needs it. So she would go over there with her 10 gold.
Tolvia would go with Dilly.
Okay, so you
He
would.
said to the rest of the group, you guys can stay and eat or do as you please. But we will take a watch tonight.
Permission to go to well and clean oneself.
Permission granted.
Varys.
Sorry.
Oh, we'll come back to it. So Varys, you staying or going?
I'll probably tail LV. So
Okay, so before we do anything else, we're going to take a short break because I know Nutty's going to want to make coffee and she's really loud. So we'll do it. We'll take a short break so Nutty can make coffee. Everyone else can have a pee break, whatever they need to do. Chat, thank you so much for hanging out with us again tonight. We're going to be right back. We're just going to take a short break and we'll be back as our team have reached the village of Steerin and prepare for an evening in this village under siege. Don't go anywhere. Bye-bye.
go back now.
We go back now. And we're back. What's up, chat? And said, after all that, Nutty does decide to make a coffee. So the break was a little longer than normal. But we're here, we're back, and our adventurers, our military squad, not our adventurers, they're not adventurers yet, have reached the village of Steerin. They've met with the Sheriff Mona, and they have gotten some information about what is happening in the village of Steerin. And are now on their way to, well, three of them are on their way to the general goods store to purchase some equipment. And LV, you're heading out to the well to clean yourself off.
Yeah, I think Various followed me.
Oh, okay, Various, that's right. Various and Mr. LV. So we'll stick with you guys first as you head out to the well.
Sweet. So yeah, just looking for like a well or a water something, or like a place where the horses would drink or something.
In the centre of town, there's a communal well which the village uses collectively to draw water. It's a typical well with the stone surround and the bucket, the framing with the bucket and rope with a big hand turning wheel to lower it and bring it back up.
LV looks to Various and says, "I will check the depth if you will lower me down to get clean."
I mean, I can try. I can't promise you won't plummet. Not very strong.
You just have to control the handle on the side. It is a simple tool.
And I mean no offense, but you're quite heavy, yeah?
You might be correct. I look over the well, scanning. How deep does the well look to LV?
Probably no need for a perception check. You can see the water from where you are. It is a fair way down. You're probably looking 13 feet to the top of the water.
I'll be
another
back.
point though, this is probably the town's drinking water, and you had a dead creature's head in you, and it probably wouldn't be good to drink after you went down there.
Various, Corporal, suggestion.
Yeah?
No, you give me one.
Oh. Well, usually there's a bucket in the well, and you could like get the bucket and sort of like splosh it on yourself. Maybe grab a sponge or a cloth.
You're suggesting bathhouse as opposed to well.
Well, I don't know if this town would have a bathhouse, but if they did, it would be perfect, I think.
Processing. This unit has no money for paying for clean at a bathhouse. Do you have money?
I mean, I do have some money. Could definitely get you like a proper clean. Maybe they have some scents and herbs and stuff. Maybe get you smelling really nice.
Affirmative. This unit will follow you. And I assume we can't find a bathhouse.
I'd say, Various, you're quite right. As you turn and look around, it's a very sparse settlement. Like, you've got the inn you just stepped out of. You can see where Tolver and Delia headed to. Is another smallish building, which has a sign, like a makeshift rickety sign hanging out the front. You can see where is another larger building, which looks like an industrial style building, which is the sawmill that I spoke about earlier, which is there's nobody operating. It looks like there's the stable that where you've had your horses attached. The stable looks like there is a blacksmith working, metal worker doing some stuff there. Looks like possibly repairing armor or weapons. You're not entirely sure. Could be doing horseshoes. But apart from that, the rest of the village, and again, like I say, it's not very large, looks mainly like personal dwellings. And these are makeshift personal dwellings. Like they're quite rickety, and they're not shoddy, like not shacks, but they're just very basically built homes. You can see some have broken windows, and like as you look at now, as you sort of have a good look around, that you sort of stopped and that you can see that this indeed is a village that has been under siege. You can see the scars of some form of battle here. Broken windows, repairs on certain doorways, and as you sort of turn and look around the street, I would imagine that there is still probably blood in the streets. Like, when I say street, I'm talking about muddy, like dirt waterways. So there's like puddles here and there where it may have rained here recently, or you're not entirely sure, but you can still see there is some of those puddles are still red with blood.
I think our chances of a bathhouse are pretty low. I do have another idea. Like, you're mostly made out of metal, right? And some wood?
Well, it is partly metal, partly boiled leather, parts of wood, yes. Some ceramic type material.
Hopefully this isn't like offensive, but like a blacksmith, like they tend to work with metal and sometimes leather and things like that, and then they'd have to clean their tools, right?
You are correct.
He could maybe give you a wash, or she could give you a wash.
Maybe we just ask of you to wash while I can wash myself.
Well, that's true too. I mean, I don't want to assume how you want to be cleaned.
Correct. Let's find a blacksmith. So, long story short, I know Various wants to do anything else, but I just want to clean my compartment so I don't
easy
smell
enough
bad.
done. Yeah, you'd walk over to the blacksmith area. The blacksmith is, again, probably another young man, probably in his late teens, early 20s. Quite stocky. You can see he's probably grown up doing this sort of work, maybe with a family member, father, grandfather, whatever. At first, as you guys approach, he is quite taken back by you, LV, as you sort of start talking. He realizes what you are. Not seeing a Warforged before, he stares quite intently for quite a while, and then sort of regains composure, if you will, and suggests, I can give you some equipment to clean yourself up, no drama. And he gives you a set of tools per se to enable you to clean out your compartments and do what you need to do to sanitize yourself.
Sweet.
To remove thy stinking Doc Noche guts and stuff from inside your body.
So after 10 minutes or so, I just say to Various, does this unit smell better now?
Does he smell better?
Yeah, he would. It's the odor's still there because he hasn't had a chance to properly sanitize, like really properly sanitize. It's still there, but it's only if you get real close and you take it. Like, if Various is willing to give a good decent sniff, you'd probably still be able to smell it, but nowhere near as bad. But from a distance, you can't smell it.
And it's still there, like if you get like really close up, but probably next time the corporal asks you to keep dead flesh things inside of you, you should maybe say that that's not the best idea. But
Negative.
I think
I'm
for
unable to go
now,
against the corporal's wishes.
maybe I can convince him that's about it. I don't.
Negative. Your rank is not high enough to tell the corporal what to do.
Right. I have a question for you, speaking of rank, because like we're the same rank, even though like you're a lot more experienced, and I thought maybe I could ask you an honest question and you would give me an honest answer.
Affirmative. This unit does not tell lies.
Just kind of want to know if I'm annoying.
I think the question here is would LV be annoyed by Various? That's always look.
You know, with the dog doesn't know what you're saying.
Oh, that's gold.
This one, Unit 426 does not understand annoying. Knows what it is, of course, by meaning, but annoying is when something is repetitively getting on nerves. This unit does not have nerves.
Yeah. I just kind of worry that maybe, like, I could tell Uth was getting very frustrated. I hate to think like he left because I was like super annoying. Because you don't think that's why I left?
Negative. Uth is a deserter, a traitor. He will be killed for his crimes.
I don't know if he's clever enough to be a traitor. It sounds like. Oh, hopefully we find him one way or another. I'd hate for him to get killed and not be there to. We should probably go.
Thank you, Blacksmith, for your help.
And he sort of just gives you a bit of a wave. A little awkwardly, but...
Should we catch up with the others, Various?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know how much money the corporal had, and we probably need a bit of equipment, so...
By the sound of
probably
the
pay to
clanking in
catch
his
up.
pockets, I would say he had around 110 gold, give or take.
Oh, wow.
And
That much?
with that, we will switch over to Dillian and Tolvir. So, Dillian and Tolvir, you head across to a building where you see the rickety sign, and it literally just says, there's no fancy name, it's just Steerin General Goods. And you walk inside, and as you were told, there's a young man inside. He's gathering some equipment. It's a very sparse shop. Like, there's not much out for display per se, but he sort of wipes his hands on his apron as you walk in, and good morning. Well, afternoon.
Good afternoon. Just looking for some climbing gear. A rope and perhaps some picks.
Climbing. Yeah, I've got some climbing kits, definitely.
For the record, I can't see the goods page if I'm meant to.
If you go to your journals,
Yep, I'm looking at it. It's got Steerin General Goods, and
You
it
should be able
do not have a permission.
really, I just gave everyone
Yep,
permission.
same here.
All players should have observer on that. Oh, you have to give your ownership. Give your owner and see what happens.
Okay, I'll give it a sec.
No, you do not have permission for it. That's bullshit. Everyone should have permission for that. Moment. Okay, that's just weird. Anywho, we can skip that then if it's not going to work.
Yep.
I can tell you what he's got, and you can tell me what you want to purchase. I can put it in your inventory, and we can sort that because it worked the other day. Okay. Oh, hang on. Maybe this will work. And try that.
Oh, hello.
That'll work.
We'll
Yep.
try that one instead. So now you should all be able to see it. Even those that are not in the shop. So again, don't purchase anything if you're not intending on purchasing anything, because you won't be able to. So that is pretty much, he says, well, this is what I have, and he sort of goes through his wares, and obviously what's on that list is there. So you'll see the climbing kit there if you go down to where it says loot, so scroll down, and the climbers kits are 15 gold each. For you guys, you will need at least 2 for the 4 of you to complete your journey. And he sort of says, looking at you, he says, well, I mean, you're going to need at least a couple of climbing kits. It has ropes, pitons, things, everything you need for climbing. Are you guys, are you the ones that have come from Beyond, from the capital to help us with the harpies?
Indeed.
Yes.
And sort of as he turns to grab a couple of climbing kits down, you see down his left-hand side of his face 3 large healing wounds. Like, these aren't scars; these are recent wounds that are scabbing over and healing. still a little bit weepy in places, running from about his forehead on one side, over down his ear, down his cheek, right down his neck, and as his collar falls open, you see it runs right down into his chest. It's a pretty nasty wound that he looks like he sustained maybe in the last 2 or 3 nights or so.
And I'll ask how much the climbers kits are.
Normally 15 gold a piece. We don't have much left, so we only have a few. We have a few healing things and regular stuff like the other jewelers and just general stuff. But I really can't let it go any cheaper than that. I mean, we're low on resources for the village. You understand, of course.
Of course. Ace is so going to have to pay us back for this shit, just saying. Would you mind, how much money do you have, Corporal? Or better yet, do you have enough to purchase the climbers kits?
I've got over 100, so whatever you think we need.
Well, we'll need at least 2. I'm pretty light, and I'm pretty sure Various is pretty light. The only heavy ones, and please take this with no distaste, I don't mean it in a mean way, if you know what I mean. I'm not trying to be insulting, I swear, Corporal, I'm not trying to be insulting, but you and LV are a bit on the chunkier side, heavier side. And she's trying to be polite. 2 at least, I think.
Tolvia smiles at her and says, "Don't worry, I'm a natural climber. I don't need it." But
2, I think, because LV is very heavy.
I agree.
So if you wish to purchase 2 climbing kits, Tolvia, you should be able to see the purchase thing there. You click on purchase on the selected item, and then you should be able to select how many that you wish to purchase, and then confirm that purchase, and it should hopefully give me a request, and I will accept it. And it should have removed 30 gold from your inventory and placed the items into your inventory, hopefully, if I've set that right. Which it looks like it has.
I can't even see the gold in the inventory, so
it's down the bottom of your page normally. Depends on which sheet you're looking at. Like if you've got the dark sheet, it'll be at the bottom.
Yeah, to the bottom.
And the climbers kit's there, I can see it. So you've purchased your climbing equipment. Is there anything else in there that you wish to purchase just while you're there? He does have a little bit of healing potions there.
So Dilly, knowing for a fact that she will not be able to afford any healing potions, considering everything that she's come across the last few times, it's just like, that was not a very smart move, Dilly. You should have at least brought more. But never mind. Excuse me. How much? Can I have? How much is the grappling hook and a rope?
2 gold for the grappling hooks. Quite well. I make them myself, in fact.
Can I?
And a gold for 50 foot of rope.
Okay. Well, since you made them yourself, maybe you can tell me. If I put one on one end of the rope and one end on the other end of the rope, would it make a makeshift bollard?
He looks a little confused. You can see he's probably not entirely sure what you're talking about. If you look at the bowlers that you've already got, you will realize that they have...
Jelly doesn't have it.
Yeah, but you would have seen them when you purchased them. They have 3, sometimes 4. They're joined at a central piece, and they have 3 or 4 twines,
ropes,
if you will, right, and they're weighted on each end.
Well, Jelly was thinking of them being about the same weight and just throwing them to hook. So she's going to do that. So she's going to buy
it's up to you what you want to do with it. Yeah.
2 grappling hooks and a rope.
So you should be able to do the same.
So I'll purchase the rope first, making sure it's
Yep.
perfect. Yes.
Do you want me to pay for them, Dilly?
Nope, Dilly will pay for it.
So you bought your rope, and now you can do the same with your grappling hooks as well.
And I can do two.
Done.
Done. Thank you very much. And Corporal, I'll pay you back for the climbing kit when we get back to the keep.
It's for the mission, it doesn't matter.
Still shouldn't have to worry about it.
It's probably about this point of the purchasing process that Varius and LV will probably rejoin you.
And Dilly's going to look at the climbing kit that Tilvu's got and look at LV and wonder if it will actually hold him or not.
The rope's pretty sturdy. Like the rope you get in your climbing kits is not your typical hempen rope that you guys carry for regular things. It looks like it's a little thicker. It's definitely a little longer. But it looks like it's been treated with something. It definitely looks way sturdier. So you get the impression this, even though this kid's quite young, you get the impression he knows what he's talking about. That he would estimate that 2 climbing kits should be more than sufficient for your needs. You also get the impression he knows where you're going, which is probably why he suggested 2 kits in the first place.
Yep. Okay. I'm done here. Do you boys want anything? Or sentient being? Want anything?
Negative. This unit does not require anything.
Yeah, he smells a lot better too. Thankfully. Do we buy enough climbing kits?
The corporal provided.
Do you think we need anything like healing stuff, or how are you guys off for healing stuff?
Dilly's gonna rummage around in her bag.
This unit has 2 potions to aid you all.
Let's see.
And healing kits should the need arise.
Yeah, Dilly has 1 on her belt, 1 in her bag, and a med kit in her bag. So,
Yeah, I have 2. It probably wouldn't hurt to have more, but then if we take everything the town has, then if something bad happens to the town, then they won't have them, I guess is the thought.
I agree. On the other things, if we're climbing up a mountain, are you guys dressed to be climbing up a mountain? I'm not too worried. I'm naturally.
I mean,
Mate.
no disrespect, Corporal, but I don't think anyone's gonna have anything that is going to fit me. Even halfling size clothing is.
I wouldn't be so sure, little one. And he gives you a little smile and a thumbs up, and actually pulls out a winter cloak, which looks like it'd be the perfect size for you.
Oh
We
dear.
do have like halflings and gnomes in the village.
And Dilly's
What?
sitting there going,
Might have some ogre socks for you to wear.
yeah, but I'm not looking for a sleeping bag, okay?
Oh, is it gonna be cold, you reckon?
Well, it is a mountain.
If you look back at the craggy peak where Mona pointed out, it's not right at the top, so it's not at snow level. It is below snow level, so it's. But you know the area well enough, Toby, that it probably will get a little cold up there. Whether it'll be cold enough to require winter equipment, that'd be a choice you would make. But I would say that you'd probably know that you might get away without it. at this point. You're not going into snow territory, because I mean harpies aren't known for being snow creatures either. So you're probably okay without it, I would imagine.
Anything else you think we need? Just putting the options out there.
As far as I know, I think we're good. But I'll take a rain check. Next time I'm down, I'll come and, next time I'm down, I might look out your winter coats.
And he gives you a polite smile.
Tactical observation. Do we know if harpies are nocturnal or day sleeping creatures?
Dilly would know that information with the information she read.
Dilly wasn't given that information.
No, she wasn't, but she would know, and it would have been in that information, that they are both. They neither prefer nighttime nor daytime. It appears that they have no preference.
It seems that they can do night or they can do day. Very much like gnomes, whether you're a night sleeper or a day sleeper. Depends on your body clock, I guess.
If the sheriff was saying they take people at night, would we assume they might be sleeping or slumberish in the day?
Possible. How many are coming down at a time? During what times?
We may be able to tell if they attack the village tonight, or we can talk with some of the village people, and ask.
YMCA kept going over my head.
And the young gentleman sort of clears his throat and says, the last time that they attacked was 3 nights ago at dusk. Was neither night nor day, in fact. Right, as the day starts to leave us and the nighttime starts to draw in, it was sort of about that time, and it has been every time they've attacked a village. The last attack, I think there was 7 that attacked a village. 2 came first with the song that they sung. I don't remember much after that, and the next thing I remember, I woke up in the inn with this, and he sort of points to the side of his face and neck.
Always at dusk. How long does it take him to get down the mountain?
Couldn't say. I mean, we hear the song, attack, and within 15-20 minutes it's all over. They're gone again.
How long between attacks, usually? What's the general...
Days. Perhaps 3, maybe 4. No real pattern.
Last time attack was 2 or 3 days ago?
Yes. It was the night my father was taken.
I remember the captain said there might be 12 at a minimum. Seems like a lot.
It was hard to tell how many there were. I mean, it was just getting dark, and they were very fast. They flew and walked on 2 legs at times. But yeah, very very fast, and I mean, I didn't even see what did this, but don't really remember much. All I remember is hearing that song. It's nice. calming, almost. And I don't remember much else after that.
Told you music was trouble, LV.
Trouble and calming are very opposite things.
My question is, we shouldn't have pissed off the bard. Maybe he could have... Can't... Would have been nice to have something anxiety-inducing, anger-inducing to counteract the calmness.
If only we still had Uth. Maybe the harpies took Uth. They're very quick, right? And they attack at night? It's a long way to go for one human, though.
Private Uth does induce anger in all of you.
Very much so.
Mild annoyance.
Is there anything else you need? I really must get back to work.
Oh, I do apologize. Perhaps, Corporal, and we should go somewhere and sit down and let's strategize this before we go on watches.
One last thing. Can I get a grappling hook?
Of course, of course. Purchase what you need and we'll accept. Done.
And yeah, it's fucking hell. Toby's going to tie it off to his rope.
No worries.
Tie it off to the end of his rope.
So if we're staying at the inn, I'm guessing that's where we'll logically go to wait for a bit to prepare ourselves and have the conversation.
Seems legit. I mean, you can wander around the village. You still got maybe a couple of hours before sundown. You know that obviously the last attack on the village was at dusk, right on or about sunset. You know that obviously the remainder of whatever kind of guard that they have here is going to be on alert. Sheriff Mona seems like she'd be the type. She would definitely stand that watch as well. Looking how tired she is, you would assume that she's been doing a lot and probably not getting a lot of sleep.
Did the sheriff mention the harpies come from a specific way every time? Or
No, she just said that they attacked at or around dusk, and never actually mentioned that. I mean, they know they're in the mountains. Like they obviously know they went in a particular direction, which is westward of the village, or southwest of the village, which is towards the mountain. But they didn't give any. She didn't give any kind of specific direction, per se.
Okay.
But you do have the opportunity to speak to her again if you wish. If you want to find out more information. No.
LV would not. That was just Bear's query.
Okay. So with that, what are you going to do?
Dilly's going to go back to the inn and she's actually going to sit down and create her concoction of the grappling hook with one end on one thing to the other end. And make sure that, the knots are tight and everything's kind of...
Yeah. I'll get you to make a dexterity check for me. Does anyone wish to aid Dilly in her endeavours? Knowing what because she has spoken about what she wants to try and make. So you're trying to essentially make a makeshift bowler, right?
Makeshift. She's got an idea of how she's going to use it if she needs to.
Okay.
But yeah, basically.
Do you enlist the help of someone else, or do you wish to do it on your own?
Toby would have heard what she's planning, so he'd help her.
Okay, so roll your dexterity check with advantage.
Okay. Oh, cool. Nope. So, dexterity check. Is that... Oh, isn't it?
In Founder, it's... yes, hold Alt and then click. It's not bad, 16. It seems serviceable. You're able to tie your knots off, and it looks somewhat what you wanted, for whatever purpose you wish it for. The knots look good. It looks solid. Look like it'll hold. You're relatively impressed with your work. It's pretty good.
Still got it. Damn, I miss being able to do this properly. And she'll Thank you, Corporal.
Oh,
They're coming down at night, and the last time they were down there was a few days ago, and they've been attacking between every 3 or 4 days. The likelihood they're going to be here is tonight. Sounds like they get enough for their food and then come down.
well, hopefully they'll attack tonight, and then we can send out their numbers before we go up and get them tomorrow.
Well, there's at least 12 that we know. Maybe the other party managed to kill a few for us.
Maybe.
Orders, Corporal, are to destroy these beings or to capture?
Well, I think that no matter what we do with them, they're still going to be hostile towards the human people. Well, sorry, the people of Paradigm, not just the humans. So, the orders are to eliminate them.
Corporal, yeah, even if we tried to get them down, they can still sing and change our mind in some form or another.
Agreed. Permission to kill the harpies. LV.
Affirmative.
And with that,
Why does it
you'd
always sound
see,
scary, that?
yeah, the tone is very ominous. I mean, very much like that. It was definitely a lower, more ominous sounding tone, but his targeting eye flashes red. Just for not on and then stays on, but it just flashes and then flashes back to normal. And again as a almost a recognition of that order.
I like to think, like the car kit and the lights that it goes across and back.
Yeah.
Albie's eye, it goes around.
There you go.
I like it.
I've got the whoo, 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 going in my head now. Oh. Corporal, next time we speak to the sergeant, perhaps we could discuss some of the things that have been going on with LV.
What do you mean?
That was a little creepy.
For me, not so much.
Noted. I'm just a little unsettled. Anyway, I'll see. Dilly's going to do. Have you got anything else you want to do? Maybe we should look at doing some signs. If we don't get them tonight, then I want to be able to do something, and we won't be able to hear. We'll be completely deafened so long as you're within a space of me. So I want to know if there's any hand signals or signs that we should be able to do in case we need to go up the mountain. Perhaps we should work at thinking of signs for us to use before we do that, considering we don't want to be in hearing of these things.
Well, I saw that the vendor had some chalk, so we could get some blackboards and make some signs.
There's a flaw in your plan, Tova. To write something is an action. And that would mean that they'd be able to attack us while we're trying to write something, and it kind of make it whole completely null and void.
What's an action? I don't know what you're talking about.
I meant actually as in doing something
I know.
takes time. I wasn't actually
It's all right.
Corporal,
I was giving
speaking on me.
What you're saying is taking time to write something is a distraction.
That's what I heard.
For us, not them.
Right, yes. Okay, that's probably not a good idea.
P1C, does your information say anything about the languages they understand and speak?
It did not.
No, it did not.
If we know, maybe we can just yell at each other.
We could. Can anyone and then she looks at LV and looks how his mouth doesn't really move and decides that no one's going to be able to lip read LV.
Affirmative.
I think hand gestures are probably the best thing to do. So as we're doing something, just to, we're going here, we're going there, magic, or going to use magic, be warned because of the spikes. Things like that.
Oh, I learnt a very interesting hand signal in a bar in Beyond when I got here.
Knowing you, Various, it might have been a salute of a very interesting kind. Probably wouldn't recommend doing that to anyone above your station or level. Not common in polite society.
Oh.
Is it the one that involves the middle finger?
I mean, it was a bit like that, but then there was like some movement, and anyway, I was just trying to help out, just sitting here listening, and I thought I should contribute.
Well, what hand signal would you find helpful for you? Because you use, so say you want to heal. What would you say hand signal would you use to heal? Well, I suppose you could use the finger up at them as you're healing us. I suppose that works, but
I mean, those healers kits have like little crosses on them.
so maybe like that.
I suppose that might work.
Hmm. Hmm.
You know,
What about you?
I find just killing them works. So you don't have to worry about making hand signals. As you hear from behind you, the Sheriff Mona's been standing here for a little while, sort of listening to you guys plan. And she takes she goes, "Oh, if you don't mind," and she takes a seat at the table with you.
Oh, we were just looking at it in case we can't hear one another, so we don't get in each other's way.
I mean, it's a fair call, but
Trust me,
with
it won't
the
work out
speed,
the way we think it will.
oh, I can guarantee it won't work out the way you think. All the planning in the world goes out the window when someone shoots you in the face with an arrow.
Mm.
Or bites your face off. Whatever the case may be. But they attack quickly. Be prepared for that. Very fast. They fly, of course. I mean, if you have ways to give you any kind of advantage against their song, seem to be on the right path with that. Blocking your ears somewhat would certainly help.
I will still take the opportunity for earwax, but
Yep.
yes,
we no need for a roll for that. I mean, it's pretty easy to make something up. I'm not going to make you roll for that.
Mm. So while she's sitting there, she'll get one of the candles and she'll have a look in her alchemist kit for gum arabic, which makes it slightly soft.
Yep, no drama.
Thing.
I mean, you prefer you got a healer. You got an alchemist kit. I'd say would be no trouble to make something up.
Yeah, not proficient, but enough to have an idea.
It'd be enough to make something up. Various, the sheriff sort of turns and looks at you and points to your bow. You're on the right track with that one there. Distance. Aim just above the left breastbone. You'll bring them down to the ground rather quickly.
That's handy to know. Yeah.
Shatters the bone just above the shoulder. Stops them from flying. Makes it way easier to kill. And for the rest of you, as I said, if you do come face to face with Marcel, remember she is most brutal. She will not go quietly. In fact, she will go very noisily and try and take you with her, if she can.
Is Marcel any different looking to the others?
It's quite a bit larger. She is a different colour than the others that I've seen. She'll stand out, though. Don't you worry, you'll know who she is. I believe she will be the most vocal group.
If she was taken down first, would the others retreat? Are they that kind of group?
If only. No. I believe that harpies in general are just vicious creatures. They'll fight to the death, no matter their number.
Query, Sheriff.
Unless it suits them, of course. Yes. What is your designation?
Designation 426.
Heard of your kind. My father worked with many of your kind many years ago during late Dragon War, during the time of Croesus.
I too was there.
I wondered as much. Has your designation changed since those days?
Scanning. Affirmative.
Probably a good thing. Your question, Warforged.
Sheriff, do you know where these things nest?
We know roughly the peak in which they've been seen coming from. Not exactly the spot where they nest, but it is pretty certain it is on that peak. And she says, if you please, and she takes you to the window, opens the shutters out, and she points southwest to the Howling Mountains, and she points to a specific peak that's below snow level, and you can't really make out any major details, quite a distance away, but she points to the peak, and she says that was where they've been seen heading to that particular peak. And she says, and we've had word that some of the miners in that area have gone missing also, so they steer clear of that peak for now, till we can deal with them. But there.
Corporal, tactical assassination advantage. If we can see or know when these creatures are sleeping, we can kill them asleep in their nests.
But if they don't mind what time per day that they're awake, then they may not have a specific time that they're asleep.
Correct, but they must sleep. And habitual creatures tend to have even variant time. They will sleep together normally, like us with guarding.
You're quite correct. We sent a scout to the peak to try and determine such a thing. As a former soldier myself, this is one thing I did think of. Unfortunately, that soldier, a good scout, never returned. I can only assume that they keep watch, as we do. Some form of rotation on a sleeping pattern, perhaps. But I fear that it's either become food or made example of. We have found many remains staked out along the road to the southwest. Warning, I think. But it is getting dark. As I said, if you will stand the watch with us, you do not need to all stay up all night, but if you would perhaps split your group, Corporal, into 4 different watches with the remainder of our guard, I would be very appreciative. I fear that they're ready to cut and run if another attack occurs. Maybe having more soldiers here that are less likely to run in fear may boost their confidence a little.
I agree.
Corporal, considering my vision advantage, perhaps give me, and she'll look at both the sheriff and the corporal, perhaps give me someone who doesn't have that similar dark vision advantage. So at least we're making things a bit more even.
I see, Corporal, that your trust in your P1C is rightly placed. But correct, we do the same here.
I will take that watch.
Understood.
I shall put you with Gillian, a young ranger,
Oh,
young human. He is young and rash, but he's good with a bow. Well, actually, his name is Gillian the Third, but he's a bit of a storyteller, not unlike his father and his father before him, but he's talented. And if you don't mind, young Varys, I shall have you stand the watch with me. If maybe a pointer or two on your bow might aid you in your endeavours.
Yeah, of course, if that's all right with you, Corporal.
I'm pleased that she has. She's obviously the right person to assign watches to us, knowing the capabilities of her people.
And designation, Warforged designation 426. Do you go by another name, perhaps? Seems rather formal. I'm muted, LV.
Apologies. You are correct. I go by LV, short for Elimination Legion of Valond, Extermination Expert.
I think LV is probably more appropriate. Bit of a mouthful, but LV, if you stand watch with another individual by the name of Godrak, another half-orc. Same designation as you, perhaps.
Godrak, understood.
And Corporal Tolvier, I'll have you stand watch with my wife, Elia. He is Dragonborn. We have much in common.
Oh, excellent. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you for your aid, all of you. And if you will stand the watch for at least 4 or 5 hours this evening, once the night is drawn in, they generally do not attack once it is completely dark. So as we get past those first few hours, we should be fine, and then the remainder of the guard will be okay, I believe. Again, I appreciate it. Dilly, your watch will be on the southwest quadrant of Steerin. Varys, you with me in the north. LV with in the southeast. And Tolvier, the main gate.
Affirmative.
Understood.
And that is where we're going to call tonight's session, guys. We're going to call it there. There's going to be no need to RP this watch. The names are out there for Gillian was there for Gillian's sake. But we will join us next session where you'll start your journey heading up Howling Mountains. It'll start next morning. So when we come back, before we come back, you guys will take a long rest if you need it. I don't think anyone really needs it. But take it anyway. Take the long rest, and we'll start the next session the next morning as you're ready to head out and kill some harpies, perhaps. So, chat, thank you so much for hanging out with us again this evening. I hope you have enjoyed your stay with us here in Evil's Lair. Another Sunday night homebrew session in the realm of Paradigm with our Dragonscale Militia squad. Corporal Tolvier, Private First Class Dilly, the assassination bot LV, and one various satyr. We will sad face, you missed it. Oh, you come in a bit late. We just hit the ends, buddy. So we'll be back on Wednesday. There will be the VOD available as soon as we finish tonight. The VOD will be available if you want to watch it. Otherwise, the VOD will be up on YouTube within the next couple of days. But we will be back Wednesday with more Lost Mines of Evldoa. And we're back tomorrow with Map Making Monday. So tomorrow we're going to get back into some map making. I haven't done it for a little bit, so it'd be good to get back into that. Wednesday will be Lost Mines. Thursday, Pew Pew Thursdays, back here doing some shooting stuff. And then, I was, of course, back here on Sunday for some more D&D. So before we take off, we're going to go around a panel of players and get some moments from tonight's session. So make sure, chat, if there is a moment that stands out for you as well, at Evldoa in the chat, we will read it out. Anything like that. So make sure if anything stands out for you guys, make sure you let us know. I see some awesome people in the chat. Guys, awesome. Thanks for hanging out. All the lurkers out there. Glad you could stop by and hang out with us. I do see I'm going to call out Mr. Trashman because I did see him in the chat a little bit before. What's up, Trash? Hope you're doing well, my friend. And join the Gilded as well. Definitely. Join the community. Hang out with us there. We talk D&D all the time. We just hang out and talk shit. But there's a dedicated D&D channel in there that you can chat D&D all the time. We discuss the new UA stuff as it comes out, and we'll always be looking for more players in the future as well, looking ahead for more campaigns and one-shots and stuff. But firstly, we'll start with Baz tonight.
Ooh,
Mr.
start with me every night.
I know, because you normally got to fuck off early, so
Yeah.
we'll start with you. And Mr. Obviously, aka Mr. LV, the Warforged rogue.
Yeah.
A moment or
Fun
three
character
from you.
play. So I've done my usual one from everyone. I like to shout everyone out. Dilly earlier on when she was purchasing gears talks about LV and Tolvier. She says they're a bit on the chunky side, talking about the ropes,
Yes.
and then she sort of stops and goes, heavy side, which I thought was good. Various got me tonight with, LV, am I annoying? Tolvier, Dilly was talking to Tolvier, saying something about LV being a bit creepy, and he goes, LV creepy? For me, not so much. And I thought that was quite good. And DM, I got one for you as well.
Oh, nice.
The thing that made me laugh the most tonight actually was the words, I shall put you with Gillian. And I might be a different Gillian,
Yes,
but
it's a different Gillian,
think,
but
you know,
anyone from Campaign anyone from Campaign knows Gillian, knows the name Gillian and why it's funny.
Yeah.
So, which I had to do it.
She's going to get killed by her own teammate.
It's entirely possible. I mean, she may wake up with a few less hit points. Who knows?
No, that's it for me, thanks.
No worries. And secondly, we'll go to Mr. Drax, because I know he's got work early in the morning as well, and he's probably wanting to, and he's had a rough day, so we'll get on to Tolvier and Drax.
I had a few that I already mentioned. There's Dilly's doing a strength check to see if she can actually lift the drink.
She did well, 19. That was like
She did well.
a +0, and she rolled a 19.
LV and Varus being concerned about using the town's drinking water to clean LV.
Probably a good call, definitely.
Yeah. At one stage, Dilly was just like, "Urza's gonna pay for this," and under her breath,
Yes.
of taking all the stuff. And the other one I had was
Realistically, that was a
LV.
DM fuck up. I was supposed to leave that shit behind and forgot.
The other one thing I had was LV's Knight Rider reference. With an eye going rather than
Definitely. Well done, Mr. Tolvier. Nutty says, when you said talk to the village people, Amina said, I keep thinking YMCA. That's what went through my head, and I know, Baz, that was a definite YMCA reference.
It was deliberate because I said, yeah, talk to the people in the village. Oh, the village people.
Yeah.
I was like, hang on, Albie wouldn't have said that. That was a hit thing coming through, but nonetheless.
Hey, it all comes through. So, next up, we will go with Madamina and Dilly. A moment or three from you.
I suppose my biggest one is I love how everyone's processing the fact that Uth's gone, and I love how it's a different way about it. Like, Various thinking it's his fault. Dilly pretty much figured out what's going on, but has promised not to say anything apart from what they obviously already know.
Yeah.
And LV just like exterminate.
Definitely.
And I like how Tolver's gone. We don't say anything that he's gone missing or anything like that. He's just gone somewhere else.
Yeah.
And the whole Knight Rider thing, I absolutely enjoyed, as well as the Gillian. I'm sitting there. My first thought was, "Oh shit, I'm going to be dead by the end of this watch."
I watched all of your faces the moment I mentioned the word Gillian, and it was like, yes, it was great.
All I could think of was, "Am I going to die?"
Well, to be fair, Gillian was more of a problem for himself than his group, but he did kill his first party, so
Yeah.
But for the Lions, he was more of a hindrance to himself than to them. He almost got himself killed multiple times.
Yeah. And of course, Various turning around and saying about the drinking water, which is exactly what Dilly would have been thinking, the same thing.
Well, it makes sense.
Glad he mentioned
you really
it.
want to go swimming in their drinking water, the fact you've got decaying flesh inside your body. I mean, LV probably would have seen nothing wrong with it. It's a good way to poison a village. It's great. And lastly but not leastly, Mr. Grim Realities, aka Various.
So I had a few too. Mina, she was talking about it before, but obviously remembering that Uth had the wax and also
the bowlers.
Tolvir sort of taking charge and talking to the captain. I thought that was very good, sort of showing those command leadership qualities, and that conversation was quite good. And LV, definitely the voice he had for when he was told he could kill, but also the drinking, just like, and this like this visual of just this ale
pouring down in front of him.
Yeah, I thought that was really good. It's a good session.
Nice. And Jax pops here. I love when Mina and DM facepalmed when I mentioned blackboards. Yes, that was a facepalm moment. It's like, really? Blackboards? Come on. But at least you got the period right. I mean, it could have been painted signs or blackboards. I mean, it kind of worked. But yeah, for me, again, another great session from all the players, and I thank you all for agreeing to participate in Campaign 2 of my Homebrew World. All of your characters are amazing. I love them all. They interact very, very, very well together. Definitely Tolvir and Dilly generally work off each other command-wise relatively well. And Tolvir delegating, I trust Dilly. She knows things. I'm going to sit back and let her do shit so that I don't have to. That's what I get from Tolvir. Which is, hey, that's military, man. Delegation. Oh, delegation is everything. Various and LV's interaction with the whole annoying thing, and I'm thinking now, would LV even register annoyance? I mean, would it really even matter to him so much? Probably not at the moment. Maybe later on. Who knows? Eventually it may grate on him. Who knows how LV will be in the future? You never can tell with a Warforged individual that seemingly has no personality whatsoever. But I'm assuming Varys will annoy someone at some point.
Yeah.
He definitely annoyed Uth. That was definitely a given. But yeah, everyone even say LV's whole personality, the way he does things, is very regimented, very unfeeling, and which is just fits so well with the character as it stands. The drinking moment, definitely, like mimicking his commanding officer and just pouring ale down his front kind of makes sense. The captain, or the sheriff, sort of not batting an eyelid, kind of goes to her military training and what she's seen and knows about the world as well, was why she was very non-reactive to those sort of situations and non-reactive to LV. Obviously, she had prior knowledge of the Warforged within Paradigm, so that definitely played that part. So, chat, that is it from us. We are going to raid someone before we take off. For those players that do need to take off, they have to work. Thank you so much for hanging out. We will definitely catch up.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Before you take off, Baz, next weekend, which dragons did you need? Because I have red, black. I got red, black, green, and white.
Just
the
red
red
one.
No worries.
Yes, please.
I will bring that down.
That would be wonderful.
Yes, I will bring that down.
Bring an ancient red dragon into our home campaign.
Yes, that would, and it's all painted up and it looks awesome. So.
Oh, sweet man. Take good care of it on the drive.
You're not going to break that, dude. It's all single piece. It's massive. So
sweet.
We'll see you on the weekend, dude.
Sure. See you then.
Do it.
Bye.
So we're going to raid. I don't know who we're going to raid. If you've got any suggestions, if you have anyone that you would like to see us raid, let me know in the chat. I normally do have a few people that are on a Sunday night. Who do we have on Sunday night? Normally have Josie, but I do not see her on my list. Do I? No, she's not on tonight. Interesting. Well, these are a name I haven't seen for a long time. Little Devil Tan.
I was wondering if I knew her from you, and it's like, oh, she's playing Scum.
Yeah, she started streaming on Mixer probably about a month or two before I did, and I went to Twitch, and then she goes, "Hey, check Mixer out and come and hang out over in Mix." And her and I used to play PUBG together all the time. So I don't have anyone that's playing Dungeons and Dragons on tonight, which is quite shocking. Normally I do. So if anyone else has a D&D channel running, let me know. Otherwise, we'll probably go raid Devil Tan.
Yeah, nothing tonight's pretty quiet for me.
Yeah, very quiet tonight. See how long Tan's been running. But yeah, she's playing Scum. Another Aussie streamer too. So she's, I say, her and I used to play PUBG together a lot on Mixer. Well, she's been going nearly 5 hours. Ah, fuck it, we'll raid her anyway, I think. So guys, we're going to raid Little Devil Tan. She is an Aussie content creator, a very cool person. I have known her for quite some time. I haven't seen her stream in ages, so she obviously hasn't been on for a bit. Hopefully she'll be on for a little bit longer. But I will see you guys back here tomorrow for some map making stuff. And then obviously next Wednesday, on Wednesday for some more D&Ds. Until then, take care. Thank you for hanging out with us. I appreciate it very, very much. And we will see you next time. Bye-bye.